I guess I am very lucky to have such great role models in both my parents, who've always shown through their example what it means to be a compassionate human being. Both my parents, my dad, Abelardo Artiaga, age 93, and my mom, Consuelo, age 87, to this day still collect for those in need and for every human tragedy that happens on this earth. Their garage has always been full of items collected to send to help those who are in need. But if I had one incident that stands out, it would be my hamburger and sweet pickle story. I think we have all had an opportunity at some point in our life's unfoldment to have that moment, that gift that helps define us and what we do with the rest of our lives. And I remember one incident that is burned into my memory, which has driven me and the path that my life has taken. And I remember vividly how, as a little girl, I looked forward to the Saturday bus ride to downtown Tampa, where my mother would buy materials to make our clothes, our drapes, our bedspreads, and everything that could be sewn, because we could not afford to buy store-bought items. The highlight of this Saturday adventure was going to the W.T. Grant's counter for lunch after shopping. Grant's back then was what we call the dollar store today, and I was like Pavlov's dog thinking about the hamburger and sweet pickle. You see, hamburgers and especially sweet pickles were not part of Cuban cuisine, so this was an incredible treat for me. One hot Saturday in August when I was 9 years old, my mother and I finished our shopping mission downtown and were headed to the Grant's counter. I climbed onto the stool and waited as my mother ordered her usual BLT, also not Cuban cuisine, and I ordered my hamburger with sweet pickle. Yummy, yummy was all that I could think about, waiting in anticipation for our order to come. And it was that day that I received my first introduction to man's inhumanity to man. An African-American gentleman and his little girl came to sit at the counter. The man was ignored by the waitress. When he asked if he could get a glass of water for his little girl, he was ignored. My mother, all 5 feet high of her, was not shy and quite bold even with her broken English. If you wonder where I get it from, it's from her. She asked the waitress if she heard the man and was she going to get him water. The waitress said she was sorry that she would lose her job if she waited on the man, as was so customary back in those days. My mom got off her stool, got her water and mine, and took it to the man and his daughter. I was very young, and although I didn't quite understand what was going on, I knew it was something kind of a big deal, because all the patrons were watching us and you could hear a pin drop. It was so quiet. My mother then asked if the waitress would take the man's order, and again the waitress said if she did, she would lose her job, and she was instructed to start turning off the lights at the counter. As a final way of expressing her disgust with the situation, my mother asked what she owed for our lunch. She slammed the money on the counter, and when the food came, she took her BLT with my hamburger and sweet pickle and placed it in front of the man and his little girl, and told him to enjoy his lunch. She yanked me off the stool, and as we were making our way to the door, she yelled, "You will never see me in this store again." Not really sure that the store cared, but I learned a big lesson that day from that small giant of a woman. All I knew at that moment was that the hamburger and sweet pickle that I had longed for all week was no longer a reality. But the lesson I learned has taken me all the way to this day. When we got outside the store, my mother turned to me while tears streamed down my face, and she said, "Sylvita, if there is one thing you must learn, it is that to be a good human being and someone worthy of the gift of life we have been given, it is our responsibility to speak out and fight for what is right and fight against what is wrong. Each of us has a responsibility of leaving this world in a better place than we found it," she said. Wow, so profound and such wisdom from someone with only a 5th grade education. Those of you that know me know that this is what I have done all my life. Fight against what is wrong and fight for what is right. That hot August day has stayed burned into my memory and is one of the fondest memories I have of my mom. I know she is very proud that I have followed in her footsteps. The fruit doesn't fall too far from the tree. And that story was the foundation that my life would be built on. I believe that we have a responsibility to do our part to make the world a better place. I believe that giving and making a difference is a gift of the Spirit. It is a priceless gift that you can give yourself. Your gift can help HEA help one more family.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see, no, I won't be afraid. Oh, I won't be afraid, just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountain should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. And darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me.
Your love lifted me higher than I've ever been lifted before. So keep it up, quench my desire, and I'll be at your side forevermore. You know your love keep on lifting higher, higher and higher. I said your love keep on lifting higher and higher. Listen, now once I was downhearted, disappointment was my closest friend. But then you came and he soon departed, and you know he never showed his face again. That's why your love keep on lifting me higher, higher and higher. I said your love keep on lifting me higher and higher. All right. I'm so glad I finally found you. Yes, that one in a million, girl. And now with my loving arms around you, honey, I can stand up and face